All praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Akakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel. This lesson is going to be about an episode on a TV show called, the TV show is called Atlanta, alright? And what I saw on this TV show was that they made a episode pretty much about reparations, kind of, right? And they showed that the Israelites were getting reparations, and they was able to type in people's names and look up people's names, right? Look up their last names or whatever, and be able to find out people that owned slaves, right, through their lineage. And it was causing for Edomites to lose their jobs because people was getting laid off, pretty much showing that the foundations of the majority of these companies are based on slavery, right? If not all of them, in real life, never mind in a movie and a TV show, right? And the Edomites was bugging out, man. And then at the end of the episode, one Edomite killed himself, man. Right? But there was a lot of Edomites saying, "Oh, I don't deserve this because I didn't do nothing," right? And they wish it was going to be that easy. And then at the end of it, the one Edomite guy ended up losing his house or whatever, and ended up having to work in like a restaurant. But it's not even going to be what's really going to happen. They're going to wish that it was what happened in that movie. Because a lot of Edomites I was hearing was getting hurt about this, and I think this came out a couple of years ago now. But this is my first time seeing it. But a lot of Edomites was getting hurt in the emotions from the comment sections that I was reading, right? But they don't even have a clue what's really going to happen, because it's going to be way worse than that. This is Sirach chapter 41 and verse 7. The children will complain of an ungodly father, because they should be reproached for his sake, because they know that they're going to have to pay, man. Every single Edomite knows that they're going to have to pay. And what the one character said at the end of it, he said that the curse has finally been removed from us now, because we've did this, right? And that curse will finally be, like, that stain is going to be removed from them once we get our proper justice, man, which is for them to go into captivity like how we went into captivity, and then for them to get completely destroyed off the face of the earth, which is the judgment that Yahweh has set for them. It's not the judgment that we set for them, it's the judgment that Yahweh set for them, and we're down with that. This is Ezekiel chapter 35 verse 6. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord Yahweh, I will prepare thee unto blood. Excuse me, let me go up one. Verse 5. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword, in the time of their calamity, in the time their iniquity had an end. And what these Edomites like to say, right, is that, oh, I didn't put nobody in slavery and all of this, right? As if we can't find in the modern time right now things that there's a discrepancy of how we get treated compared to how everybody else gets treated in the world, man. As if they ain't doing other things additional. As if they don't know that their ancestors put our ancestors in slavery, and then don't care, right? And they reap the benefits when they can reap the benefits. When it comes time, or it sounds like there might be some judgment based off the back of that, then they'll want to try and play the, oh, it wasn't me card. But then they don't play the it wasn't me card when they're talking about the engineering that their Edomite people do, or talking about any inventions that they make, or talking about any conventions that they make. Then all of a sudden it's a we thing. But then when it comes to time for judgment, it's never a we thing then. Right? These Edomites ain't really got no kind of loyalty to each other, man. And you're seeing that with what's happening in Russia. They're running and bouncing from people breaking their legs, people having their friend break their leg so they don't have to get drafted. People doing all kinds of madness, man. People doing all kinds of madness so that they can not deal with the contract that they signed up for, man. Here it is, these people signed up to be part of the army reserves, but then when it comes time to do it, now all of a sudden they don't want to do it no more, man. And that's Esau for you, man. They ain't got no loyalty towards each other. If all the English Edomites saw that Russia was gonna win the war, win World War III, they'd try and become honorary Russians all of a sudden. And the same thing on the other side, if a lot of the Russians saw that England was gonna win it, then they'd want to become English. And that's how these Edomites are, man. They ain't really got no loyalty toward each other, man. They're prepared to throw any other Edomite under the bus in order to get by themselves. And they've passed their wicked ways onto us, man, which is why our nation hates each other too now. Verse 6, therefore as I live, saith the Lord Yahweh, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee, since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. So these Edomites would wish that it was just a thing of, oh, you're going to have to pay some reparations money, and you might lose your job and all of that. It's going to be way worse than that. If these Edomites can't handle a system where they have to pay out money, but the infrastructure's still theirs, and they was getting emotional about that, which they was getting bothered by a fake scenario where Israelites was able to pay up, like Israelites was getting paid out for the slavery that their forefathers went into, but all the buildings, all the companies, all the infrastructure, all the military might was still belong to Esau in that imaginary show that happened, right? Which would be nothing, because they'd still end up getting it all back anyway. They'd still end up getting all the wealth back anyway, man. They'd still end up getting it back. But they was hurt by that. So how much more are they going to be hurt when they actually realize that they're going to actually have to go through the same thing that we went through, and maybe even worse, man, because at the end of theirs, they're not going to be put into graves and given no sustenance like how we are going to get a kingdom. They're going to get destroyed, man. Isaiah chapter 14 and verse 1. For Yahweh will have mercy on Jacob, which is the Israelites, the Negro, Latino, and Native American, and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them. And that's talking about other foreigner Israelites, man. Other Israelites shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. And they're going to cleave to the house of Jacob because they are the house of Jacob. And people shall take them, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place. And the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of Yahweh for servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. So that's what's going to be happening. And people, despite what people want to say, this has not happened yet. This has not happened yet. This is a future prophecy, because this is not to do with Nebuchadnezzar, right? Which is what some people try and say, because it mentions the king of Babylon there. It's not nothing to do with Nebuchadnezzar, because when the Israelites was taken out of the captivity of the Babylonians, the Persians was ruling over the Babylonians, not the Israelites, right? Now let me get another scripture on the captivity that these heathens are going to go through, because they've all played a part, man, and they didn't care about equality until they realized that we're actually better than them. Then all of a sudden they wanted to say that we're all equal. At the end of the day, we're all blue, green, pink, purple, and all of them colors, which nobody is none of them colors. But when they thought that we was inferior and we was happy to accept being equal, they was like, nah, we ain't all equal. But now they know that we're better than them, and we're asking for the things that makes us better than them, which is the new covenant from Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Now they're talking about we're all equal, to the point where they're trying to say, in fact, you know what? We're all just anything that we want to be. Nobody's anything. I can't even describe what a woman is. I don't see color, but they'll be wearing some of the most colorful clothing that you've ever seen in your life, but they don't see color. They'll stop at the traffic lights, but they don't see color. You know, they'll know what color milk they like, but they don't see color though. You know, they don't see color apparently. Revelation chapter 13 and verse 9, if any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. And I find it funny that there's so many people that call themselves Christians, right? Yet they are not down with this scripture. And then what they'll say when they hear this scripture is, well, I'm down with the scripture, but I'm not down with your interpretation of it. When you don't even have to interpret it. Are you down with what that's saying? And then when you say to them, what does it mean? They ain't got an answer, man. When a Christian hears the scripture, they ain't got an answer for it, for what it means. They ain't got no answer. They ain't got an answer, man. They don't know what to say when they hear this, but they want to pretend like they're down with the Bible. But if they was down with the Bible, they'd be down with that. They'd be down with he that leadeth into captivity, going into captivity. They'd be down with that. And the fact that they're not down with that shows that they're not really about the Bible, man. Now let me get this scripture. Jeremiah chapter 49 and verse 12. For thus saith Yahweh, behold, they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup have assuredly drunken, and art thou he that shall go altogether unpunished? Thou shalt not go unpunished, but thou shalt surely drink of it, and that's for these Edomites. Verse 10 proves that he's talking about Edomites. If you look at who he's talking about there, well, I'll read it. Jeremiah chapter 49 and verse 10. But I have made Esau bare, I have uncovered his secret parts, and he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren, and his neighbors, and he is not. So every single Edomite's being revealed out here. All of them. They're all getting revealed as what they're really about. The magnifying glass is on them to show what they really are and what they're really about. And they're being exposed, man. They're being exposed for who they really are. Garbage, evil, wicked, deceitful, thieves, liars, pushers of evil, pushers of sin. The man of sin has been revealed in the eyes of the elect, or is going to be revealed in the eyes of the elect once all of them get to see what's happening, which really, like, it's very close to that. It seems like it's very close to that happening, because there's many people that there's a lot more pushes for this place to get closed down, man. Which means that it could be close. But let me carry on reading this. Verse 11. Leave thy fatherless children, I will preserve them alive, and let thy widows trust in me. And what I found funny from that particular show that I was watching, that Atlanta season 3 episode 4, the big payback, that's what it was called, right? If people want to look it up, is that the guy had a wife, yeah, and she like looked a bit like light brown skin tone or whatever, but when he realized that he was gonna have to pay out all that money, he came to his wife for and was like, this is crazy, like, this is mad. And she said to him, I think we need to push that divorce through quicker. And she divorced him because she didn't want to have to, like, take any of the backlash from what he was doing. And he was like, why are you doing this to me? He's pretty much said, like, this is going to affect you too. And she was like, no, it's not, I'm Persian. And he said to her, you was white yesterday. And that's what I mean. Like, that his wife was happy to claim being Caucasian, right, at a time where she could get a benefit out of that, right? She could get a bit of fairer treatment and all that. But as soon as she saw that her husband was losing, she wanted a divorce, man. And she changed her nationality. She didn't want to claim being an Edomite no more. And that's what a lot of people are going to realize, that claiming to be an Edomite and cleaving onto Esau was a bad idea, man, because his end was destruction. And they're going to regret that, all the hatred that they had to the Israelite, man. And a lot of them are not going to be forgiven for that neither. They're not going to be forgiven by the Lord first. And then after that, they're not going to be forgiven by us if we're of the elect, man. A lot of these people. Obadiah chapter 1 and verse 18. And the house of Jacob will be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble, and they shall kindle them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for Yahweh have spoken it. So that's what's going to be happening to Esau at the end of all of this. There's not going to be no great revolution and they rise up, you know. They rise up and finally make the Israelites sin again, so that we can go into captivity again. No, it's never going to be past. The kingdom that's coming is never going to be passed on to another people. There's going to be a continual rulership of these people forever. This is Daniel chapter 2 and verse 44. And in the days of these kings shall the power of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. So there ain't going to be no changing of hands of rulership in the time to come. It's going to stay with who it's for forever. There's not going to be no branch offs of no other nation that rises up. There's not going to be no number 2 nation. There's going to be the Israelites on top, and every other nation is subjects. That's what it's going to be. And people hearing this are going to get offended, but who cares? Because we're offended by their kingdom. We're offended by this world that doesn't want a man to be a man. That makes it illegal pretty much to be a man. But a man that's manly can get funding if he decides he wants to be feminine and he wants to become a woman. There's no money spare ever to help a guy start a business. If he wants to start a business, he's got a business idea, he'll struggle to find money. But if he wanted to get a gender change, then all of a sudden they might put out 6 figures for him. Oh, we've got a grant here. We've got a new scheme planned. If you want that. Oh, well, you know what? Can I just have this money instead then to build a company? Nah, this is a set money set aside for these things. That's what they'd probably say, man. They wouldn't want to give you no money to help your life out. They'd give you some money to destroy your life, though. They're giving people out money for free gender changes, but they ain't got no money to help a man start a business or nothing like that, you know? He's not economically viable then. Daniel chapter 7 and verse 27. And the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom over under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High. Who are the people of the saints of the Most High? Clearly, it's the Israelites, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions shall serve and obey him. So that's simple right there. All these other nations are going to be underneath the Israelites, man. All of them. Every single one of them. There's not going to be no nation that's equal. There's not going to be no nation that's close to being equal. The Israelites are going to be given an everlasting covenant, which that everlasting covenant leads to everlasting wisdom. And that everlasting wisdom is going to lead to an everlasting kingdom, man. The scriptures say that wisdom leads to a kingdom. So they're going to get that, man. And there's more scriptures I could go to, but I think I made the point, man. Like, these Edomites was complaining about some TV show where they had to pay back some reparations in from fake money that's had their face on anyway. But how much more are they going to lose their mind when they really realize what Yahweh's got planned for them, man? And I'm going to end the lesson there. All praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Makar. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel. Shalom.